Hello everyone, my name is Sam Pathak and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be learning about Sysbox, which is the next generation runc. This video is powered by Suborbital, Armo, Robusta, Slim AI, and Teleport. So make sure you check them out. Let's get started. Sysbox is a container runtime. It is actually a low-level container runtime which creates the container. So where it sits. So if you are familiar with Docker, so you send a request to Docker to create the container. Docker sends it to container D. Container D sends it to runc, and runc is the person who is actually creating the containers. And your Sysbox sits in the besides the runc layer, side by side to the runc layer. It is like they both can exist together, so you don't need not replace the current architecture. You can just have the Sysbox layer with the runc, and you can make use of that runtime class, which we'll see in the demo. Basically, the motivation behind this is users should be able to run the VM like workloads in a secure way. So most of the VM like workloads in a secure way. Although with VMs, obviously you get a lot more isolation, which is like its own kernel and things like that, where you can have more strong isolation. But Sysbox lets you easily run stuff like all the Docker, BuildX, K0s, even Kubernetes distribution, systemd. So all these things can easily be run using Sysbox. So it enables to run most of the workload seamlessly and securely, and it has like two versions, which is the CE and the Enterprise Edition. We'll be talking more about that by the end of the video, and it integrates very well with Docker and Kubernetes, so you need not to learn any new tool. So you'll be able to easily get started with it. So this is where Sysbox is. So you have the host machine, you have all your Kubernetes or Docker or container D, and Sysbox will be sitting here. And Sysbox container will look like this. You can create your own systemd, Docker, and you can create own containers on within the container. So basically you can have your own ephemeral environments that you can create using Sysbox container. They are rootless containers, so that is the major benefit. So you do know Sysbox container is a privileged container. Traditionally, if you want to kind of run Docker within a container or Kubernetes within a container, you can do with a lot of config changes and stuff like that. But Sysbox makes it pretty smooth, pretty easy. Like anything you can do on the VM, you can basically do it on a container, a container powered by Sysbox. So you can use kubectl, get nodes, or install Kubernetes or install Docker on top of that in that container as well. So no privileged container is required. So it's rootless, runs most of the VM workloads very seamlessly, and no complex setups are required for the containers. And it lives side by side with runc. It has a very strong isolation as well, like only OS virtualization concepts they're using: the Linux namespace, procfs, sysfs virtualization, then user ID shifting, and bunch of other stuff to make these things this thing happen. Some of the use cases that can be that can be think of when we are talking about Sysbox is running microservices, systemd, Docker, buildkit, legacy apps, and stuff like that. I think there are two more which are in progress, which is QEMU and GPU apps. So they are in progress. So basically you can use it for security, hardening your container isolation, because it's running rootless container, so which is a very good use case. CI/CD. So if you have like Docker and Docker environment, Kubernetes on Kubernetes, Kubernetes in Docker, stuff like that, that also can be run. Developer environments, you get your own developer environments that you can give containerized environments. You will be having like systemd, applications, Docker, everything inside that container, and you can have that. Also, you can run legacy apps, because it acts as an alternative to KubeVirt with much more performance. Obviously, like I told you, VM has much more isolation, and there can be some of the specific use cases that do not run with Sysbox, but almost that's why like most of the VM use cases will be able to run using Sysbox as the container runtime. Then yeah, it is the alternative to VMs for the at the edge and the cloud IoT. So this is the overall comparison that is there with respect to like security, workload wise, performance wise, orchestrators, and portability when it comes to like Sysbox compared with KubeVirt, gvisor. Actually, this is the main comparison layer, I would say, where you have like you can run most of the workloads here, but when it comes to speed and efficiency, you can see Sysbox outperforms because there is no virtualization layer itself. You have a virtualization here, nested virtualization, but there's no nested virtualization here. So it outperforms KubeVirt and all the others in terms of efficiency and performance. I told you like Sysbox has Sysbox CE and EE edition, so you can see all the features which are there, like the supported distributions. There will be a few extra on the enterprise edition side. Then there is this particular thing like strong cross container isolation, which is in enterprise. Rest all are there in the standard as well. So K3s can be installed with Flannel, which I'll show you in the demo. But other CNIs can be done using the enterprise edition. Then you have a Kubernetes again with Calico, etc. would be done using Enterprise Edition, and similar stuff like support and stuff will be there with the Enterprise Edition. So you can check. Community Edition is free and open source as well. So let's move on to the demo and deep dive into some of the things. You can see in the documentation as well. If I go to the installation piece, so you can see how you can install. It can be installed on Docker. It can be installed on Kubernetes using a daemon set, and we'll be doing that. So I already have a Kubernetes cluster, kubectl get nodes and hyphen show labels. I have set a label which is called sysbox install yes. So why I have set this label is because any node that you want to install sysbox, you need to add this particular label. So now when you install the daemon set, it will create the service account, role binding, the daemon set, and the runtime class, and all these pods will be created only on the nodes where the sysbox install is yes. What it is doing behind the scenes is it is getting the sysbox binary from the repository and dropping them onto the nodes and then restarting the kubelet. And also you can see like the runtime class is there. So if I do kubectl get runtime class, so we can see that sysbox runtime class has been created. So kubectl get pods, we can see all the pods are running, and we have sysbox pod on one of the nodes is running, and they also add this particular label which is called sysbox running, sysbox runtime running. So let's look at a pod that we are going to deploy, the demo pod. So it's a simple pod that uses a runtime class, sysbox runc, and the image as ubuntu bionic system d docker. So I think this is the image of ubuntu image which already has pre-configured docker and stuff. So let's run that. The pod has been created. Let's exec into it. And we are inside the pod. So we can actually see Dr. PS. It runs smoothly. Now what we are going to try is we are going to take this particular command which is used to install K3s on a particular node, just a standard command on k3s.io, and see if it runs within the container powered by Sysbox. It is starting K3s. So the K3s is started. Let's see kubectl get nodes. Cool. So we have our K3s cluster up and running within Sysbox container. I think that was pretty smooth, and that shows the power of Sysbox. And we can see all the containers are up and running. So let's run kubectl run nginx, and I'm able to create the pod as well. So I think that's pretty neat. It is working as expected. You can also run Sysbox with Docker. So this is an environment where I already have installed Docker. So if I do like Docker PS, I already have run the image, the same image, which is Ubuntu Bionic System D Docker. So I can do like Docker exec hyphen ID and container ID, and I'm inside this particular image container. So if I do Docker PS, again, I'm able to run anything inside that. So I think that is the power of Sysbox. It is a pretty interesting project out there and can be installed easily, using the package install. If you want to install app gateway or a Kubernetes install, deploying it as a daemon set and dropping the binaries. It works on Ubuntu, Debian, and all the major Kubernetes distribution. So I think it's interesting that somebody has come to the lower level container runtime layer and doing some innovation on that side. So I think it's free for developers. So make sure you try out Sysbox. Very interesting project out there, and you can also check on GitHub how they are actually doing the amazing stuff. and enabling you to run VM-like workloads in the containers seamlessly and securely, because they are all running as rootless containers. I think that's the bigger point, because you get that container isolation. So rootless mode is something which everybody wants, more security. So you can actually use the Sysbox runc runtime class and run your workloads more securely on the clusters. So that's pretty much it about this particular video, and this video is again brought to you by Suborbital, Armor, Robusta, Slim AI, and Teleport. So Robusta helps you to troubleshoot Kubernetes, and it has 50 pre-built automation and webhooks that can help you troubleshoot the Kubernetes cluster in a better way. You can check out suborbital.dev. They have some amazing open source project like Atmo, making it easy to build awesome apps. Slim.ai are the creators of Docker Slim, that minifies the image 900 MB to maybe 90 MB. So definitely check them out. Armo is Kubernetes security built for developers. They are the creators of Kubescape, a very interesting tool. I already have a video on my YouTube channel, and I'll be creating a deep dive on soon. Teleport is used for quickly accessing any compute resource anywhere securely. So make sure you check out Teleport as well. So thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Press the bell icon. If you happen to try Sysbox, then let me know. But what did you try on it? What did you run using the Sysbox container runtime, which sits with the runc layer? And yeah, let me know in the comment section as well. So thank you. See you in the next one.